I'm sorry, what was that again?
Like, share, and subscribe. My name is Albert.
All right, guys, I'm a few months behind on this, probably several months, but I still thought it'd be good to still do. We're gonna do some comparisons between two pretty close guns, right, that you guys might be considering for carry. But the big deal is the ports, right? And there's quite a few videos on these two verses, and then we'll have a surprise a little bit later that I think should be part of this versus video. But we got the Canik Mete MC9 Prime and the CZ P10C ported. All right, so we're gonna go through some practical shooting and some accuracy shots, and then look at the felt recoil and all that good stuff, and see what to us feels good, to me and Tiny. But first, I just want to kind of talk about features and aesthetics. For me, and let's just start at the slides. They're both very aggressive, where as far as the cuts go, so you can really get a good grip on either one. And both these guns are clear, as you can see. I believe the Canik is a little bit more, has more deeper serration, so that's going to be a little better. The optic cut for the Prime is RMSC, so you're stuck to one unless you get plates or whatever. Where the P10C, it's a plate system, so you can put whatever you want, but yes, you're also going to need to get plates. So out of the box, you can just get whatever plate you want for whatever optic you prefer. Versus on the Canik, you have the RMSC, which may or may not be an issue, considering that most compact carry guns, you're probably going to want RMSC and not a big giant RMR, but you never know if you want Delta Point Pro or something like that. Feel ergonomics. I love the CZ's ergonomics of their grips. I've always liked that. Their texturing kind of pops out a little bit. Everybody should be used to it if you are familiar with CZ's. So it is semi-aggressive. I just wish with this redesign of the slide, they would have added more stippling up here, up top where this meaty part of your hand is, and see how slick that is. That may be an issue if you're sweating or something like that. So I think they really missed out on that design versus going with the same P10C frame. The Canik has less aggressive, but it's textured all the way up and down. So it does allow you to get a good feel, and you can hear that rubbing, where on the CZ's real slick. The features, I like their slide catch and drop better on the Canik. It's very easy to access and very easy to drop. CZ's, that's usually one of the parts that I will change out first. You can drop it, it just takes a little bit more force. Like I had to put a little bit more force there, but I don't like that they're super flush, but I get it because it's poly for carry. That's where they do that so it doesn't snag. But this I usually will change out to like an Apex extended or enhanced one. I just never like that. They got one rail here for any kind of lasers or lights, where you get 3 here. The triggers for a carry gun, I mean, there's no reason to be a trigger snob if it's going to be for EDC. But there's a take up there quite a bit, and it's a hard wall and in a springy brake. And let's look at the reset. Not bad. Let's look at the Canik. So they kind of have a spongy take up here, wall, and then a nice crisp brake. I would say it's better than the CZ, and a shorter reset. So right away, I would say the trigger on the Canik is better. Some of their features, again, like I said, their slide catch is more extended. You can see it's all the way here. It's a little bit better, but I do like the optics on that. I think I prefer the texture on the Canik. And that's going to be subjective to what everybody else likes, right? But we're going to go ahead and start shooting. We're going to go at about 7 yards and then push it back to about 12, and then see what kind of accuracy we're getting out of both of those. All right, so we're going to start with the CZ, and we're at about 6-7 yards. We're going to get us a nice little 5-round group. I have 2 pacers on the target to give us some aiming points, since there's a brown USPSA target. But we're going to go first 5 with the CZ and compare accuracy. That's 5 rounds there. Let's grab the Canik. All right, so we're back. We got the Canik. Same thing. We're at about 6-7 yards. We're gonna go 5 rounds and compare accuracy. So at about 6 or 7 yards, and again, I would look at the group, not necessarily on target, right? Because if the sights are off, I'm still aiming at the same point. It's a very tight group for both. As you can see, the CZ is much tighter. 5 rounds there, probably within 1.5 inches. This one is maybe slightly. I wish I had something to measure with. I don't. Let's see. So this is going to go to about this tick here, where this one is just a little bit bigger. So slightly larger group, not by much, but you can tell visibly it's a much tighter group on the CZ. But I will say the CZ shoots flatter and softer than the Canik out at the gate. So we're gonna tape this up and push it back to about the 12 yards and then look at the accuracy again. It's about 30-some degrees out here, but we're running through these tests for you guys. I was worried that the code was gonna mess with my trigger finger and all that, but it seems to be fine. So now we're at about 12 yards. Same thing, I'm gonna go with the Canik first now. 5 rounds. And I'm gonna switch, I was shooting the Canik at the bottom, now I'm gonna switch to the top in case any of that is influencing the results. So we'll rotate. But now we're back with the Canik at about 12 yards. We're gonna get 5 rounds. Feels really good. I do like the Canik. It's not hard by all means with that port. Same 12 rounds. Now we're at the CZ and we're dropping we're shooting our target at the bottom now, our little paster at the bottom. Here we go. I think I pulled that one. I might have dropped one. Let's go take a look. The CZ does feel softer. Like there's no way around it. So at 12, 13 yards, we really need to measure, but I know we're at about 12 yards or so. The Canik is shooting left, but again, those sights can be adjusted. Or if once you put a red dot, you can fix at least where they're going. But the group is still not bad. So we kind of doubled the distance, and it did kind of split the grouping size. Still probably as long as my thumb. It's all ashy. It's cold out here. So still a good group as far as just kind of shooting. And again, I'm on a boot, so not the best of balance, right, with that torn ligament. But very good group here. And then the CZ is more on point. But again, that could just be a optics thing. You can just align them. And I would say this group is slightly tighter again. Let me see if we have something else to measure. I would say maybe these. So we're at the end here to about this blue line. End here to about the blue line. So I would say they're probably identical here at 12 yards. These, I just think we get more that are a little bit closer. But either one at 12, 13 yards is still pretty good. The closer, tighter one definitely was the CZ up top. And again, just shooting them, the CZ is a little softer recoil, and it shoots a lot flatter. Both are great. The Canik feels good as well. Not harsh by any means, but the CZ is noticeably better as far as the felt recoil. All right, so now we're gonna do some muzzle rise, some slow motions, and then talk a little bit about Tiny's gonna shoot it and see how she feels with it. And then we'll get that her opinion on that as well. One thing I wanted to add, the trigger feel, they're both great. I thought the Canik was gonna be better, but when I noticed when I'm up here aiming, and we're completely safe, so I got my finger on there because I want to display this. I just feel like it's such a much larger pull to get to that wall when I'm shooting the Canik, and I can definitely feel it where I'm like, man, where's the wall? I thought it was shorter than on the CZ. So I did want to add that the CZ is a shorter distance to that wall, whereas this one's kind of it's leaving me like, man, where did it go? And then it's way back here. So I will say I love the feel and look of the Canik, but when I'm actually shooting it, the CZ is better to me. All right, so one thing I'm gonna do a practical thing, right? If these are self-defense options, I'm gonna shoot these at about 6 yards, it looks like, and I'm just gonna do 5 rapid shots and just kind of see what that spread looks like. Because in self-defense, right, you're not gonna have time to sit there and try to get tight groups. You're gonna probably unload a few rounds. So I want to see which one stays a little tighter. That'd be better, and you're not getting wide groups, and you're shooting off into the distance in self-defense. Who knows what you're hitting behind you, right? Probably be smart to rack it in self-defense, right? One in the chamber. Here we go. So that's about 5. Decent group. If I'm shooting at a bad guy, I'm not afraid of those leaving anywhere past him if I'm shooting all body shots. So now same thing with the Canik. I think I shot off 6. The guy was still coming at me. Let's take a look. So a little bit wider spread. I shot off 6 on that guy. Remember the CZ had these 4 and 1 here, which was just bigger than my fist. Whereas you can see this took the entire alpha zone. Still good. I'm not worried about this crazy spread and going beyond. And usually self-defense is maybe 2 or 3 shots. But the more you shoot longer, I think that spread gets a little higher because the Canik does have a little bit more muzzle rise. I really don't want to say it has more kick and then give the impression that it's a kick. It's soft shooting. It's just the CZ is softer and flatter is what it is. But they both shoot nice. Right, we got Tiny here shooting each one so she can tell us how they feel to her. We've already tested the accuracy. So let's see how it feels to Tiny. What you shooting first, the CZ?
The CZ first.
All right.
Pretty accurate. Gloves.
What'd you say? We need some hand warmers and gloves?
Yes, please.
Yeah, it's about 30-something degrees out here right
like
now.
18 with the wind, is what they said.
All right, so now she's gonna run the Canik.
Ooh, much snappier.
All right,
Okay.
so you shot both back to back.
Yeah, the CZ is a lot softer, less recoil, less muzzle flip than this one, than the Canik.
Now, kind of like what I was saying, like I don't want to say that one's snappier, make people think it's bad, but it's just...
No, not uncontrollable at all. But for me, also, the grip of the CZ is a little smaller than the Canik, so I can get a little tighter, tighter grip, more
Not
purchase.
shorter, you mean like thinner?
Yeah, it's a little thinner. Yeah.
So for you shooting...
I get a better purchase on the CZ than I can the Canik, because I have smaller hands.
There you go. We got Tiny's opinion, her freezing opinion on the Canik and the CZ ported. So we got a little surprise because if you're going to consider these two for carry, and we're looking at the ported or compensators and ports kind of similar, this is a surprise for me. Is the P365 Legion, right? Compensator. These are ported, same general science, right? It's throwing the gas up. So I would say if you're going to consider these two, I would probably consider this one. It's a little easier to carry. It's much smaller than the CZ and smaller than the Canik, but you get an all metal gun, so it is about double the budget, maybe slightly over double. But let's just shoot the same test and see if this would be a better option than these two if you want to go over that budget, because it's in the same family. Like I said, smaller to carry, and it also has the built-in compensator that does essentially the same thing as these. So let's check it out, run the same test. All right, so we're at about 6 or 7 yards. We're going to do our 5 rounds. I'm having some issues with the dot, so hopefully it doesn't interfere and this ends up staying in the video. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I think it needs a new battery, so it's kind of starting to wash out on me no matter what I'm doing here. And I haven't really re-zeroed it, so we'll see. All right, so now we're gonna do our practical 5 quick rounds, see what kind of group we're looking at with the 365 Legion. Little trigger freeze there. Getting a little colder. I think it's the one I dropped. Let's take a look. Hands are starting to get a little numb. So I really wouldn't consider this one because I felt that one. So let's just maybe say the 5th one would have been somewhere in this realm. Nice tight group. I think the CZ was a little bit wider than that one as well. This one I definitely felt, and you guys can see it in the video where I kind of froze after it or before, I don't know. But good shots, and you're not going to be worried about anything leaving or too far of a spread there. All right, so we got Tiny with the 365 Legion. See what she thinks about it compared to the others. You look more comfortable with it for sure.
I like it because it's heavier. I like the heavier guns. It sits in my hand well. The purchase is just the same as the CZ, so that's good. For me, less muzzle flip because it sits down better. It's heavier. I of course would go with this one all day long, but if I was to carry this, I would probably go with the CZ because it's a lighter gun, and a heavy gun on my person being small is a little cumbersome versus a lighter gun. So there's that.
There's that. And for me, yeah, if we're looking at the 2 main pistols, the CZ and the Canik as far as budget, the CZ, let me see if I can get this. Since Tiny walked away. The CZ, the CZ definitely better for me overall. The way it shoots, the way it feels, it's much softer. It's tighter groups all around. I like the features of the Canik more, but when it comes down to shooting, that's what the gun is for. I'd go with the CZ. But if budget is not a thing, if it's not an issue, definitely go with the 365 Legion. If the weight and the price is not an issue, same type of gun, smaller, better for carry, right? More concealable, shoots flatter, shoots more accurate. If, again, budget's not an option or an issue, definitely I would go with the 365, then the CZ, and then the Canik. But all great guns. So to the next one, man, you guys drop some comments and feedback what y'all think down there. You can find me on Instagram, of course, fat_tactical. And don't forget, December 1st, go out and vote the Gundies. I was nominated for Micro Influencer of the Year. So be on the lookout for that. I'll have some links and stuff in the description, and I'll post them up here. It'd be cool to get nominated or at least be in a finalist. And then, you know, hey, it's an excuse to go to Vegas. And then leave some deposits at all my favorite casinos out there. So check out the Gundies. Shout out to them. I appreciate even being nominated. I'm sure some of you guys did that. I really appreciate y'all's time and effort and all that good stuff. So I'll keep trying to put out content for you guys. So I appreciate y'all. Just finished shooting the video. Tiny's burnt off on me. This is gonna be our blooper. Busted leg, and I'm carrying all the heavy stuff.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I got it.